If I doom scroll for too long, my automation takes a picture of my face and sends it to somebody to expose me. So today I'm exposing my systems so you can use it to get a promotion, impress your boss, make more money, finally have time to do what you want, like travel and spend time with loved ones, and stop procrastinating. This system is called the CARR system because it's supposed to take you to where you want to go faster. So I'm going to tell you what CARR stands for. The C stands for Q, A stands for action, R is reward, which is so important for us ADHD people. And the second R is reflection, because a lot of people forget that second R, but it's very important. Let's start with the first C, Q. So this Q is supposed to be something that you can see that reminds you what you're supposed to do, like this habit or goal that you have. Because if I don't have something like right in front of me, my lack of object permanence makes me forget to do the habit or work towards the goal that I want. So one example of a Q can be a TTL list. TTL stands for today, tomorrow, and later, and this is what my list looks like. I can't plan further than today and tomorrow, so I tend to dump a lot of things into later, and then the important things that I for sure need to get done today, I'll put it in today. But to prioritize even further and make it more simple for myself, I have the one big thing. As long as I complete that one big thing that day, it makes me feel accomplished. So I'm not feeling guilty for having all these things on my to-do list that I haven't done, because that guilt kind of sends me down the shame spiral where if I feel accomplished for just finishing this one big thing, I feel like that momentum kind of carries me forward to the next day, and then I start doing more things. So then instead of being like, oh no, I'm falling behind and getting all stressed, it's more like, yay, I'm getting ahead by checking things off that are more than just that one big thing. The other thing that I do is have a template day, because I find that when I have a blank calendar, I just doom scroll. I need some kind of structure, but I don't like structure because I need room for flexibility. I'm very spontaneous. I'm not gonna follow a time-blocked calendar, especially if I don't feel like it. And also every day for me is a little bit different as a business owner. So instead I have this thing called a template day, and this is what it looks like. I have my goals outlined as well as the habits that I have to do. I have kind of a guideline for the day. I don't have to follow it absolutely. It's just more of a, okay, if I can't think of anything to do right now, let me follow this. And it just gives me the structure that I need. I also do that for weeks. So every single week I have a theme, and that's kind of like the focus for the week, and it makes sure I'm always getting something done and working towards something instead of being like, I have all these goals but no time to do it. The next cue that you could use, other than looking at these Notion templates every day, because I always have them open on my computer and I check my computer every day, the next thing that you can use is a calendar invite or a reminder, a scheduled email to yourself, an alarm. If you tend to ignore calendar reminders and alarms like me, you might have to figure out other ways to have a cue that's strong enough to make you actually remember and pay attention. The next cue that you could use is, I don't know if this is really a cue, but this really helps remind me to take action. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. So basically what that is unfinished things tend to be remembered more. So let's say the night before, I'll lay out my running clothes. And when I wake up in the morning, I'll look at the clothes and be like, oh yeah, like I have to finish putting those on. And then by the time I have my clothes on, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to go for a run right now. Even if the weather is miserable, like if I have my running clothes on, I'm like, it feels like such a waste to leave this unfinished. So this is really helpful because I have a terrible memory. So as soon as I have something that I have left unfinished, it's so much easier to continue. And I do this for like everything that I need to get done instead of feeling guilty about procrastinating. So the other day, I had some stuff that I needed to do, but I kept putting it off and procrastinating. But then I was like, I'm not really procrastinating here because I'm thinking ahead about this thing that I need to do and planning it out in my head. When I sat down on my computer, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew the exact next steps because I already thought about it in my head. So I was able to finish something in like 15 minutes, when if I were to do the entire process, like planning it out in my head, thinking about it, and then sitting down and doing the work, it would have taken like hours. I have another example here. A lot of people are shocked by the comprehensive work documentation I have, but they don't know that I literally just sometimes leave it unfinished. Like here, this documentation is just a 2-sentence reminder to myself about something that I really cannot forget and something my coworkers could not forget, so I had to put it here and link them the documentation. So it doesn't have to be super complicated. Like, some of these are complicated with a bunch of links and stuff, but I had to document these, otherwise I would forget what I was doing because ADHD memory stuff. This is actually related to the next step in the CARR acronym, which is A for action. So we just went over C for Q and A for action. I like doing this thing called minimum viable action, and you can see that's what I did with this work documentation thing, because like the minimum documentation I can have is write at least 1 sentence or like put at least 1 screenshot. It's very easy to do. Other examples of minimum viable action is journaling, just 1 sentence, because people are like, how have you journaled for more than 10 years every day without missing a day? Especially because I travel a lot and I'm pretty busy. So for me, I can either journal 1 sentence, I can use point form notes in my journal, I can yap to my phone in voice notes, and then AI just kind of cleans up the transcripts and add paragraph breaks. If you want to make it even easier for yourself, you can also use this app called Tango. Tango people, if you see this, please sponsor me again. It basically, like, you just do your work and then it captures like in little screenshots what you're doing, and you can just share that link with your coworkers or put that in your work documentation, and then anybody who you need to train can literally go through the Tango, and it's like very interactive. Like, they can learn by actually interacting with the software that you made a tutorial for, instead of like, you know, looking at the screenshot instructions, which can be overwhelming. The next thing that'll help make it easier for you to take action is body doubling. So every time I have like the most boring admin work, like something I've been pinning off for weeks, I will ask my friends or my partner or somebody for a co-working session, and we'll just hop on a call or go to a library together and just lock in, and then we have like a little show and tell after. So there's that deadline pressure and the dopamine of like presenting something you're proud of, and that really makes me lock in and do that stuff that I've been putting off. If you don't have any friends or people you know who want to do this with you, you can use some online tools that I think you have to pay, and then you get put in a Zoom room with a bunch of strangers and then you work together. But one of my students for my life tracking course used it and found it very helpful. So similar to body doubling, you can also just call a friend while doing chores. And I found this so helpful because sometimes I forget to respond to messages, and like I hate replying to texts and emails and stuff. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, this friend didn't even reply to me, and I open the chat and it's like me that didn't reply because I reply in my head, and then for some reason, like it's like the Zeigarnik effect. I'm like, okay, this action is finished, so that I forget about it. Yeah, anyway, it's bad. So to make sure like I don't let all of these friendships deteriorate, I call my friends every now and then and check up on them. Like we catch up, and then I'm like cleaning my room while doing that, or like washing the dishes, or like doing some other chore. And that makes it so fun because it's like I can't just sit there and talk to people on the phone. Like I have to be doing something. The next thing that'll make it easier to take action is, for us ADHD people, we need to make it fun and rewarding. So I cannot just like sit down and read something, study, listen to an audiobook or podcast. Like I don't understand people who like sit there and just listen and watch videos. Like I have to be doing something else. So I actually combo it with my daily runs because I'm marathon training right now, and I listen to an audiobook during my run, and it makes it so much more fun for me. And then the time passes by faster. And speaking of marathon training, this is another way that I make things fun and therefore easy to take action, is this spreadsheet of my marathon tracking. Because if I don't fill this out after my daily run, I'm like, I feel like the day is incomplete. That's the Zeigarnik effect, remember? So this spreadsheet is actually my cue, and filling it out actually feels rewarding as well. I feel like the act of tracking things makes you improve because it really vibe checks you, and that's why I track like everything in my life. The next way for you to take action is making use of your environment. If your environment is like a library, like of course you're gonna feel pressure to log in. If you're trying to study or work in a very noisy environment, like on the bus, it's gonna be a lot harder. That's kind of obvious, but then you might be like, okay, how do I change my environment? How do I make it easier? Because we procrastinated cleaning our rooms probably for years, right? So what I like is doing this thing called add, not subtract. It can be like adding a reward instead of feeling like you're taking something away. So for example, when I first went vegan, instead of thinking about like taking away all of these foods that I was used to, I was more like, okay, let me add these new foods that are like actually really interesting and exciting and fun to make and also delicious, because I discovered so many new recipes since becoming vegan like 9 years ago. You can also frame it as like you're adding friction. So something that I did recently is instead of sleeping with my phone like right next to my bed, like I literally had my phone like sleeping next to me like it was my cuddle buddy or something. I needed to add something instead of like taking away my phone. I'm like, okay, every night I'm gonna leave my phone in its new bed or its new nighttime area, and that makes me so much less likely to doom scroll in bed when I wake up or at night. Because okay, well, my sleep schedule is still kind of messed up, but at least I'm not like spending ages doom scrolling anymore. The next part is one of my favorites. It is using your natural curiosity and experimenting. So this example is kind of related to my business, but basically I posted consistently like every day a lot, and how I was able to do that is curiosity. So I actually posted 2 versions of the same video, but I just changed the text on screen. And which video do you think performed better? This POV, you're bad at math, or just learn data analysis in 6 weeks as a beginner? So me personally, I thought it was going to be the POV one, because I was like, okay, longer text, you spend more time reading it, therefore watch time increases, and then it gets more views. So I posted them both at the same time because I didn't want too many confounding factors with like the time of posting and stuff. And the simple one got like 40 times more views. And if I didn't test this, it would not have gotten this result. So now I like to test hooks and test my videos because I'm like, wow, I have to keep posting and I have to keep checking to see which video did better. And it makes me so excited to keep making my videos and check on my content and stay consistent basically. So you can maybe design an experiment in your own life. Like, okay, I bet if I go to the gym 3 times a week for a month, like this is what's gonna happen. And then now you have to stay consistent, otherwise the experiment is gonna be ruined and you're not gonna find out what the result is. If you're curious about this hook testing stuff, I have a whole video on it from like a year ago, so make sure to check that out on my channel. I also have this cheat sheet if you wanna make your habits a lot easier to work with. All the templates mentioned and all of that stuff, I'll put it in the description. The next part is, can you remember what we covered so far? Do you remember what the R stands for? Okay, the C is Q, A is action, and R is the most important part in our ADHD brains, reward. Usually intrinsic is what works best for me, and what that means is like it's more internal, like I just enjoy doing the activity. That's why I had that example of like yapping on the phone with a friend while cleaning your room, because that makes the whole process enjoyable. And I enjoy like doing things like with my hands, like cleaning and stuff. Just it can't be boring, you know? Like I love these pretty colors and graphs. Like it makes me feel so proud to create something like this. It's like the ADHD creativity. And I love pressing buttons. I literally made this like reflection stuff, so I have to press this like every single day, and I don't forget because it's so fun to do. And even with my work documentation, you can see like there's pretty colors, there's fun emojis, and it just looks so satisfying, and I enjoy creating something cool like this, which is why I'm so consistent with it. Now extrinsic, or like the more external reward, like money, you know, snack, you can give yourself a gold star for stuff if you want. That can work as well. It's just I find that the intrinsic kind of works better long term. Some extrinsic rewards that you can use if you like really have to reply to emails. What I do is I have like a cute little snack, and I'm like, I get the snack after replying to emails for this long, and I'll just do it and then get my snack, and then that gets me through it. Like it's not like I enjoy replying to emails, but like it gets the job done. You can use the tricks that you feel like will work for your brain. Anyway, that's reward. I'm sure you can be creative and think up of way more ways to reward yourself, because I feel like sometimes my negative self-talk is too much. I'm like, why are you procrastinating? You know, like ADHD making you so disorganized and lazy and all of that stuff. But it's like, no, you can learn how to work with your brain and reward yourself, be creative, etc., instead of like going down that shame spiral. Because this CARR, it's like a cycle. you keep repeating it every single day because that's how you want to set the habit. You have to constantly look at the cue to remind yourself to do the action and then reward yourself and then reflect. So even if it feels like a cycle, as long as you keep doing the final R, which is reflection, the reflection is what's going to get you to improve your system, and then you kind of go up and up and up. So let's talk about reflection now. The reason why you have to do this is because sometimes as your life changes, like you start a family or you move, you travel, you're gonna have to change the cue. You might have to change the way you do your actions, and the way that you can be more resilient and adapt to that change is by reflecting. So this is a template in my course. It's the weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly reflections. And I actually had, like last month in May, I was like, I wasted my entire month. I actually wrote about this in my newsletter article. Be sure to please subscribe. I was like, I did nothing this month. This was a horrible month. But then I did my reflections because I missed my reflections the entire month, so I retroactively had to go back and do them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I actually had so many wins I completely forgot about because the losses are what sticks in my memory. I think it's like a human evolution thing. And then once I saw this, I was like, wait, this month is actually a good month. Like, what am I, like my delusions are getting to me. And this really helped me see reality for what it was, and also kind of live more intentionally, because I'm like, okay, these were my losses. What did I learn from them? Because in my reflections, when you do it, you kind of detach yourself emotionally from your losses, because there's questions about, what did you learn from your failures this month or your losses? And then that really frames your losses as a learning opportunity. Yeah, I have a lot more reflections here in my newsletter article, so I'll leave that in the description below as well. But basically, if I do these reflections like every day with my journaling, every week, month, quarter, and year, I'm so curious and excited to see what I've learned, what I've accomplished. I'm excited to be creative. I'm excited to make progress and see and track the progress that I made. And the reflection time is just like every Sunday night, I'm like by myself, nice drink, nice snacks, and it's rewarding. And I also have a reminder to do these reflections every week on my calendar. Sometimes I ignore it, which is why I fell behind last month, but you can always catch up and get back to it, because consistency is not like you do everything every day, because sometimes I don't do all my habits every day, but true consistency is if you go back to it. So even with my marathon training, maybe some days I'll miss something, or I won't feel as great to go for a run, but you can see I always go back, or I try and do the minimum viable action. So on Sunday this week, I didn't do my 3-mile run. It's because instead I have 4 hours of sleep and then hiked almost 15k. I don't know the conversion in miles, but I was consistent, and the day after I got back to running, instead of being no, I broke my streak. Because when the marathon happens, instead of being okay, I broke my streak once, I'm gonna give up, I know I'll suffer less in the marathon if I get back to it. So just think of your future self. You're gonna look back and be why did I stop after this one obstacle? Or why did I stop tracking and doing reflections after 1 month of travel? It's no, your future self will be grateful if you went back to it and picked up where you left off. Okay, the summary. Can you remember what CARR stands for? The C is cue, because ADHD people, we need the visual cues, otherwise the object permanence makes us forget. The A is action. The R is reward, so we can get that dopamine. And the second R is reflection, so you can have that upward spiral, because the reflection is what keeps you going up and improving. Now I'm gonna make a cheat sheet of everything that I covered in this video, so you can probably print this out and put it somewhere that you can see daily, so you can constantly remind yourself of these principles. And if you want to learn more and dive into this in a structured program where there's a cute little sound when you check off the stuff in your homework, which are all very easy items to do, and you get a community and everything, all of that is in my course. Other than that, you can also learn from my YouTube videos, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check out my other videos. But in the meantime, maybe I'll see you in the next video.